So I used to believe that relationships were about growing together, which I know sounds healthy until you realize I was really dating people for who they could be, not who they actually were. And I justify the gaps, downplay the incompatibilities, tell myself this will get better with time. But what if time doesn't change someone? It just reveals how long you're willing to tolerate what isn't working. And the better question is, why are we more committed to their potential than our reality? Expecting a partner to change. That's what we're digging into today. I'm Yue.
I'm Julie, and we're sharing what we learned the hard way so you don't have to.
Were you also a very good project manager? Because that's
Oh
what I
my
was in my
God.
20s.
And my 30s.
Same. Same.
This
I'm like,
didn't stop
oh,
in my 20s. Yeah.
if this is V1, I'd like the V5 of you.
Oh my God. I mean, as a dreamer slash achiever, if you haven't taken our dating archetypes quiz, go do it. It gave me so much insight into what I did because I got ahead of myself. I wanted to believe in someone and their potential. I had one great date with them. I put them
Hmm.
on a pedestal, thought they were going to be the person. And then the achiever in me wanted to make it work at all costs.
Sure. Yep.
And I just kept going. And I was like, they'll change, they'll come around to the point of someone being like, I don't want a relationship, like at all.
Yep.
And I'm like, "They'll change." No, they didn't. They were happy to have me as a hookup, but not a relationship. And then also in situations where there was more like mental health stuff or things that were external to our relationship, I was banking on a lot to change, which required someone doing very deep work that was way out of my control, that maybe they would have got there, but if they did, it would be years. And it's ultimately something they have to want for themselves. You can't want that and do that for someone.
We were just so damaged by the stories we would
Mhm.
hear from our friends, our acquaintances, our coworkers of they knew someone who
Yes,
had
the
a
urban myth.
partner who came around finally, or the person they married that person didn't want to commit, and then a few years later they were like, "No, you're the one. I really want to be with you." And they came around and they changed. And we hung on to these stories thinking, well, if it could happen to Joe Schmo Mo, their neighbor's cousin, then it could happen to me too. And that's also what's depicted in movies because movies love showing you that one fairy tale of something that happened that normally you wouldn't think could happen. But look, it happened to this person and they they didn't think this person could change, but that person changed. So we hung on to these stories. But as we look at reality, if we were to look at pure data, that 99% of people do not change unless they're willing to change themselves. That 1% is depicted in these stories and urban myths, but the majority of people, 99% of people, will won't change because you are expecting them to.
So I love this because I'm thinking of the book, He's Just Not That Into You, right? Because this was like the whole premise of that movie. And the book, too, was like, I mean, there was a lot of satire in there, but a lot of it was like, look at who this person is and what they're
Yes.
doing. And if they're being weird and not committing to you, they're just not that into you. And like, move on to find someone that is. And what kills me is that, and I mean, we've talked to Greg, who's one of the co-authors of
Mhm.
this on this podcast, and he agrees. So, not saying anything different. What kills me is the movie calls that out, yet all the couples end up in like a tightly like packaged outcome
Yes.
where they did
They're
change
st
for
yeah, they're
them.
still together. Yeah, they do get together. There
Right.
is a
And it's
happy
like
ending.
this story of like Ben Affleck and Jennifer Aniston of him
Yes.
like leading her on for years, not leading her on, I don't know if that's the right word, but not committing to marriage. Like basically she wants to get married. He's like dragging his feet and then she leaves him and then he comes around. And it's like,
Ugh.
there's a little bit of that that's good because you're standing up for yourself, but like, is that really the message? Because it goes to your point. Now it's the urban myth of like, well, they're gonna change. Maybe I have to leave them and then they'll change, but they'll
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. And then you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it to get a rise out of them, a reaction,
Yes.
you're trying to instigate something without leading with your own needs first. And that was also what I did in my 20s too, was I would try pretend to leave a relationship or threaten to leave, threaten a breakup, hoping that they would come back and say all the things I wanted them to say.
Right.
And is that really how you want a relationship to
No.
start? Is
No.
that you basically scammed them?
I mean, that was my on again, off again relationship for years. The one I
Mm,
was talking about of like where there was external work that this person had to do. And I thought if we broke up, he'd be
mhm.
like, okay, now my life, I saw what I had with this amazing woman, and now I need to get my life in order. And I'm going
Yeah.
to change and do all the things. And what would end up in reality happening is we'd break up, a month would go by, he'd come back, but nothing would change ever.
No. No.
And I would be like, I'm going to buy into all this like idea of change, even though he wasn't actually even promising that. That was just
No.
me thinking that.
And I think this all comes from good intent. I do think in these relationship dynamics, we do see the better version of our
Yes.
partners and we see the
Yes.
opportunity for them to grow into that better version. And we've heard multiple people, many of you have said, don't they see how good I am for their life? Like,
Yeah.
don't they see how much better they've become since I entered into their life? And yes, it comes from good intent, but your reality is different from their reality.
Yeah.
Even though you see the good outcome, if they don't see it, it doesn't become their reality. And you cannot convince them of that to
Right.
be their reality. So you have to accept it and walk away or accept it and live with it.
Right. And that's what it like it's just how long you're willing to tolerate it, basically. But I do think like some of it is what you just said. Some of it could be that like they don't live in the same reality and you think this is the best relationship and they don't. But the other side of it, I believe this was my situation was that they did see it, but they just didn't have the capacity to change.
Nope.
And, like, they needed to get there on their own, and, like, there wasn't gonna be a person that pushed them for that change. Like, you can say, like, okay, perfect example. I know that certain foods are good for me.
Mhm.
Right? Like, I know they're good for me. I feel better when I eat them. I feel, like, energized. I feel healthy. But if I'm in the place of my life that I'm not ready to, like,
Yeah,
forego things that are bad for me in exchange for things that are good for me, it doesn't matter if logically I know. It needs to come from a drive within you to be like,
that's right.
I want, like, a partnership and all this above everything else, and I'm willing to do the work to change, and no one can
Yes.
do that except for the person.
Yes. Yeah. You can be like, I'm in the headspace to be very healthy and eat broccoli every day. Or you go, I cannot think about my health right now. I need to get to my mental health. To make myself mentally feel better, I'm gonna eat ice cream. Like that is what I have capacity for right now is ice cream. But that's such a good analogy because even though people say they want it,
Yeah,
they may not be able to get there. And then they may also say, I'm not willing to do the work to get
right,
there. But they're
right,
not arguing with you. They're not saying, I don't want that. Yeah,
right.
we all want to be the better version of ourselves. But a lot of people don't want to do the work. And they have to
Yeah.
accept that. Like, I don't want to do the work to get to that better version, even though it sounds great. I'm just not there.
Well, I also think being in a relationship, like, there's parts of it that are good that everyone can see,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you're on a date with someone, you're vibing and you're having sex and you're attracted to someone, like, all that, I'm sure people want. But then there's, like, the day in and day out and navigating
Yes.
conflict and sticking around and making this person a priority and, like, doing all the stuff that is required that it's easy to say, "I want it," but it's hard to do the stuff required to actually build it.
It's a lot of hard work. It really is. And okay, let's even play the other side. This person decides, yeah, I do want that. I'm going to put in the work and you're going to help me. Do you really want to be that partner in this one sided relationship where you're carrying the weight of the entire relationship, helping your partner get better and change and do all this work? Who's going to cater to you? Who's going to meet
Right,
your needs?
right.
Nobody. And then what's going to be the outcome of that? Resentment.
Right. I feel like we've talked a lot so far about just like changing where someone's like at and like their capacity and what they're willing to do. But there's also the side of like changing qualities about someone, right? Like you're in a relationship and everything's good, like relationship wise, but they do this one thing that drives you crazy, or they have a bad habit or a vice or something. So I want to get into that side of expecting the partner to change. But before we do, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsors.
If there's one thing I'm prioritizing right now, it's sleep. Because when my sleep is off, oh, everything's off. My mood, my energy, how I show up in my relationships. So this is where Avocado Green Mattress has sleep all figured out. Their certified organic mattresses are specifically designed to relieve pressure points, support your body the way it needs, and help you actually get the deep, restorative sleep you've been missing. Every mattress is made with thoughtfully sourced materials and built with real care, so you can get incredible sleep night after night. Now, when I invest in something I use every single day, I want it to be made with real care, not just mass produced. Avocado Green Mattress is exactly that. Supportive, comfortable, and thoughtfully crafted. It's a long-term investment that actually feels like one. Avocado products are made, not manufactured, and thoughtfully crafted with real materials to deliver lasting comfort and support. Go to avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable to check out their mattress and furniture sale. That's avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable. avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable.
I've been all about building an intentional wardrobe, leaning into pieces that are timeless, comfortable, and look put together. When I have all my go-to staples, it just makes getting dressed that much simpler. And you all know that Quince is my absolute favorite place to get fabrics that feel elevated and fits that are flattering. My latest obsession is their short sleeve cashmere shirts. I bought 2 in different colors, a pale pink and yellow. Both go so well with the pants I also have from Quince, and I've been wearing this combo everywhere. Their cashmere is so soft, and I can't get over the price. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Refresh your every day with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/dateable for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable.
If you felt stuck trying to lose weight, you're not alone. Enter Weight Loss by Hers. It's designed to support you in reaching your goals. And Hers now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hers, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first GLP-1 available in a pill, so there are no needles needed. Everything is 100% online through Hers. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. And it doesn't stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Even better, with a range of affordable GLP-1 options, Hers makes it simple to find an approach that fits your needs and your budget if eligible. You'll get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. It's weight loss designed to work with your life. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/women to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/women. forhers.com/women. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk A/S. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit forhers.com.
So, okay, you have a partner and they smoke, for instance, and you're like,
Mhm.
I just want them to stop smoking. Or you have a partner that, I'm trying to think of something else, like they don't put away the dishes, or like they just are absent-minded sometimes, or they're late. Like there's endless lists of things that could go on that could kind of drive you nuts about someone. Like, do you think you can change this habit of theirs? Or, like, I guess the question I always ask is, like, you could clearly state your need and, like, say, like, I prefer to be with someone that doesn't smell like smoke, or I prefer that we have a tidy kitchen or whatever. But, like, what's the balance of, like, forcing an action on someone versus accepting it versus being like, "We're building together and your part isn't working with what I want."
I think all of that comes with a negotiation because these sound like maybe not deal breakers. Because if the smoking was a deal breaker, you wouldn't be dating this person in the first place, but they are somewhat preferences.
Right.
So both people have to state what their preferences are about each other, and then you negotiate how you're willing to compromise on that. Maybe this person's like, I will only smoke outside and when you're not here, or I will try to limit smoking to twice a week or something, right? Like there's a starting point where you can have these conversations. And I think that's okay. Like you're not forcing a change on someone, but you're basically just saying, how do we coexist together?
Right. I think though you're right. The deal breaker piece, like I think some people, yes, it just wasn't a deal breaker. It's a preference. But there are people that it was a deal breaker, but they just think they can change someone. And
Yeah.
I do think that is problematic. I feel like at least the advice I would give to my younger self is like take the person at face value of where they are. And
Yeah.
if they change, that's a benefit. But if they don't, can you live with it? Can
Yeah.
this be something that, like, there's always going to be quirks, there's always going to be annoyances in a partner, there's going to be something. Like, is this something that you can just be like, this is their something?
Yeah, exactly. I think the mistake I made in my 20s and 30s with that is I wouldn't investigate the why behind someone's behavior.
Yeah.
Like the smoking,
Mm,
for example, you could really ask like, how did you get started in smoking? How did you become addicted? What does smoking do for you? That's a way to investigate and get curious. My example was really from three relationships ago where the person I was dating just had no motivation.
yeah, I know what you're
It
talking
was
about.
in his late 40s, living with a roommate. He had all this money saved up, didn't feel like the need to buy a place, loved just like living with a roommate. So I was just kept saying, like, oh, you seem ready to get your own place and you seem ready to buy your own place. And he wouldn't say no to that. He would say, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Maybe. Yeah, that sounds about right. And he would give me these updates like, oh, I looked at Zillow today. I looked at Redfin today, and I'm like, "I'm not your teacher. I'm not giving you grades. Why are you
Yeah.
giving me the update?" I never investigated why he couldn't live without a roommate
Mm,
and why he didn't wanna take this, like, adult leap in his life. And I wish if I were still in that relationship and I have to do it all over again, I wish I was just more curious about where he was coming from. But I was imposing my own thoughts and how I would live my life on how
yeah.
he should live his life, which is not the right way to do it.
So, okay, questions for you with this. So, I guess like the first one is like, did you see this stuff early on and you were like, it'll change? Or were you like, I see it, I'm okay with it, and then it started to drive you crazy? Or did it not get to the point that it drove you crazy?
It's like we've talked about this on our show too. A lot of times the qualities you're attracted to in someone later could become an issue. Like with him, I was really attracted to how agreeable he was. He was just so easygoing, like, yeah, you want to do that, or you want to eat that, or you want to
Uh,
go see this show. Sure, let's go do it. And I was like, oh, he's so agreeable. I took that as compatibility. Like he liked to do all the things I want to do. Later in the relationship, as you came to find out, Julie, he was just a follower. He had no interests of his own or no thoughts or opinions of his own. And he just molded himself into whoever he was in a relationship with. So that became a problem. And I wanted him to have more conviction in his own needs and in living his own life. So I think the flags, I won't call them red or green. The flags were there in the beginning
yeah.
and there were qualities I really liked. And then they later became kind of a red flag.
That's a really good point because I'm thinking of that episode that we did about PQ, positive intelligence, and he
Uh-huh.
was saying a lot of things that, like, draw you to someone end up being the things that annoy you, and the question
Uh,
is, like, can you work through 'em or not? And sometimes the answer is no, and,
no.
like, for your case, like, you were like, "This is not the person that's gonna make moves in life, and I
No.
want someone that makes moves in life and does stuff."
Yeah, and that's why we couldn't
Yeah,
be together.
right.
Yeah, but you also have to recognize, like, this is who I chose from the beginning. It's not like he was someone different.
I think that's a good point though, because sometimes I'll even beat myself up for sticking with someone or like trying to make it work and thinking that it would work for like on again, off again 5 years. Not
Mhm,
only person I saw in 5 years, but yes, 5 years this person
mhm,
occupied space. But I think there is a time that you have to get to that realization of like
mhm.
this isn't gonna change. Like someone
Yes.
could tell you or like make small changes and then you realize like the big stuff isn't going to happen or they're not really motivated to do it themselves. Like I think for me I thought cuz he would like say it but then the action wasn't there. So I
Mhm.
thought like it was making progress and that's what kept me because I saw that happening and I'm just saying that as like a way for people that are there themselves to not beat yourself up if you feel like you've given someone maybe a couple or many chances and you're learning this the hard way. But I also do think like you have to look at like how much of their actions and words and patterns are lining up. It can't just be one or the other.
And let's just be really realistic here. What we're asking for from someone when they change, there's two sides to that coin. There is a positive and there's a negative, as with everything. I do think in our both of our examples we just gave, it is our partner's, I guess, quote unquote shortcomings that gave us the ability to love them in the first place. For my relationship, it was the fact that he didn't have too much conviction in his life or motivation that made him follow me, really respect me, and adore me the way I wanted to be and adored in a relationship. So if I wanted him to change that to have more conviction and motivation, I might have to take away some of that like admiration towards
Yeah.
me. I have to accept that. So when we think about changing our partners or wanting some sort of evolution, we have to think about how that affects our own relationship dynamics too, both positive and negative.
And I know we used a lot of examples of like things not working out when expecting them to change, but I actually am thinking about both of our current relationships and both of our partners did change habits. Like I'm not going to
Mhm.
go into too deep of what those were, but like there were changes they made, but I think the difference, at least I can speak to my own experience, was it came from them. Like,
Mhm.
for me, it was more like I think coming from an experience where I thought I could change the person or the person would change for me, I learned that that was not the case. So when someone else was doing change themselves, I think my mentality this second time around was, I'll observe. I'll observe what they do
Yes.
instead of being like the force and the hand moving it for them. And that will reveal if this is something that they want to do for themselves and that this will better our relationship by doing it and that they're committed to making the change. I absolutely think that people can change 100%, but they have to be the ones that want it.
And we also have to change too. We can't be the one wanting all this change in our partners and we have no changes in how we operate in this relationship. However, your change works also affects your dynamic with your partner. It is in direct correlation. So while our partners are working on themselves in their journeys, we also have to be working on ourselves on our own journeys.
Yeah, I think like if I was to sum up the biggest learning that I had is there's always going to be things that you can't tolerate in a partnership.
Yes.
Always. And you need to learn which ones are deal breakers and which ones are not. And sometimes maybe you think it's not a deal breaker and it becomes a deal breaker. And that's okay. It's not that you chose wrong or you didn't know. It's okay to learn as you go because sometimes being in it is the only way to do it. And then when it comes to someone changing, if this is a deal breaker for you in the relationship, it can't be you just being like, change, change, change.
Mhm.
They need to also see it as a deal breaker for the relationship and be like, I want this relationship to grow above all else. And I'm willing to do this, or I'm willing to change this, or I'm willing to do things a little differently. Like, it drives my partner crazy that I leave like LaCroix cans around sometimes. And I, at least in my mind, I'm like, I know it drives him crazy. I know I should do it like immediately. I will pick them up like in like groups, but ideally it would be like immediately after, right? So they're not like
Mhm.
accumulating. Do I sometimes not do it because I'm wired and out of habit and it's hard to
Mhm.
change things? Yes. So he's not like, oh my God, you need to change this or I'm out. But I also know that like, if I can change it, one, it's like, why not? It's not like it's serving me to have like a like mess of
Right.
cans around, you know? And let me do what I can and make it a priority if it is something that crosses my mind.
It is in service of the relationship. I think that's how we can position change for both people. It is in service of this third entity, which is this relationship we're building together. I'm not going to make these changes for you, and you're not going to make these changes for me, but we want to make these changes because we want a better, growing relationship. And the LaCroix cans can put a damper in our relationship if they're scattered everywhere, but also there is compassion and tolerance built into all of that. And we're not like trying to be the change police, like your husband's not the LaCroix police following you around, like, put the can away. That's not how we want to live because he's not saying you have to do this for me. But ultimately, we got to do things in service of the relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Can I make a quick plug for a partner of ours? Because it has truly been a game changer for me.
Yes.
Is Brick.
Brick.
I'm obsessed with Brick because another thing that was a change request, I'll say it
Uh
that
huh.
way, was that I wasn't present enough, like with my
Yes.
partner. Like I was on my phone all the time and he didn't feel good if someone's like, in a different world. So I started the Brick. So we actually have it was it's brick.com/dateable is our code that people could go to, and you get a
Mhm.
discount, all this. I was, like, pitching this hard to my friend the other day, not to, like, get the discount, but just because it saved my relationship or has helped my relationship. Saved is extreme. And I basically now have it that I'm, like, on social media for, like, the morning and then, like, the evening right before bed, and, like, the rest of the day, I'm, like, blocked out of social media, so I'm not on anything, and I have it, like, in the morning so I can, like, post stuff for Dateable, and then I'm not, like, distracted by it all day, and some of this, like, came from spending time together, but then it also came I realized, like, how much it was impacting my own mental health, and I was like, "Okay, this is the best thing for me, and this is a change that service the relationship and also service myself."
It is. Think about jail for your phone, and it's like it's so high tech. It's this like magnet-based NFC device that works with an app on your phone. It locks your phone, but it's a physical product. It's a physical thing that you have to use to either lock or unlock your phone. And I think it's saved millions of relationships. I'm making up that number, but I can only imagine how many relationships it has served. And we discovered this product and we were like so amused and so impressed by it. But you can get 10% off this product by going to getbrick.app/dateable.
Thank you for the actual link. That was good. But okay, my last little plug for it is it took me a little to like get it down because I think like what happened was I used the device on my fridge, you like tap it, and I had like everything blocked, like including messages. And I was like, this is too extreme because I'm not going to like leave the house without like, text messaging. So I changed it and now I have this profile that's like just social media. And I have it on a schedule now, so I don't even have to go to the device each time. It just, like, automatically at 12:30 every day, it shuts down until,
So great.
like, 9 o'clock. It's amazing. So, anyways, that was a tangent, but I'm obsessed with it. I think it's an example of, like, change that can happen, and my partner didn't expect the change to happen, but he voiced the need for change, and I was
Mhm.
able to, like, do something about it.
Does he like you have an actual product?
It's on the fridge.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that. That's so great. All right, cool. Love it. Love this topic. And we all should be changing all the time, but we cannot expect other people
We
to
can't
change.
force people to change,
No,
but all for
no.
change.
But we should all be changing. Yes.
Yes,
As we
that's
speak,
the
we should be changing.
takeaway.
Yes. And we'll give you all a week to change. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.